the child Sheikh Hamdan has never been allowed to mention. There is a child out there right now who carries Sheikh Hamdan's blood, his eyes, maybe his way of looking at the world, and whose name has never once been spoken in any official announcement, any royal statement, any public record that the world is allowed to access. Not because this child does not exist, but because the existence of this child tells a story that the palace was never prepared to let the world hear. A story about a love that was not supposed to happen, a child that was not part of the plan, and a father who has had to carry the knowledge of child in silence, in private, in the only place he has ever been allowed to be completely honest, his poetry. Sheikh Hamdan's public life has always been managed with extraordinary precision. Every photograph that gets posted, every event he attends, every statement released under his name, all of it passes through a system designed to ensure that the world sees exactly what the Al Maktoum family needs the world to see. The Crown Prince of Dubai as strong, as composed, as a man of culture and sport and vision, as someone who embodies everything Dubai wants to represent to the rest of the world. That image is real in many ways, but it is also incomplete because the parts of Hamdan's life that do not fit the image cleanly do not disappear. They just get hidden. And a child is one of the hardest things in the world to hide from a father's heart. To understand this, you have to go back to the chapter of Hamdan's life that existed before his arranged marriage, the years before 2019, the years when he was living a private life that the world was not paying close enough attention to fully document. He was in love, genuinely and deeply in love, with a woman who had nothing to do with royal politics or family alliances or the strategic decisions that Sheikh Mohammed was already making about his son's future. They were together in the way people are together when they believe, at least for a while, that love is going to be enough to protect what they have built. And then something happened between them that made their connection permanent, in a way that no royal plan and no family decision and no arranged marriage was ever going to be able to fully erase. She had his child, a child born outside of any official union, a child whose existence was known to the people closest to Hamdan and kept carefully, completely away from everyone else. In a royal family, this kind of secret is not unusual. History is full of them. But the weight of carrying it, especially for a man who feels things the way Hamdan feels things, is not something that simply settles into the background and stays quiet. It follows you into every room, into every public event where you are surrounded by people who know nothing about it, into every poem you write when you are alone at 2 in the morning and the feelings have nowhere else to go. The child grew up away from the palace, away from Dubai, eventually, raised by the mother in a life that was designed to be as separate as possible from the official world Hamdan occupied. Not because either parent wanted that separation, but because the alternative, acknowledgement, visibility, any form of official recognition, would have created consequences that the royal family was not willing to manage. In the world Hamdan lives in, an unacknowledged child is not simply a personal matter. It is a political one. It affects alliances. It affects the image of the crown. It affects the carefully managed story of a future ruler that has been in construction since the day Hamdan was born. So the child was not mentioned, not in any statement, not in any post, not in the long, carefully worded announcements that royal families use to introduce new members to the world. While Hamdan continued his public life, attending events, posting poetry, performing the role of the crown prince with the composed grace that the world has come to expect from him, there was a child somewhere living a quiet life who had never heard their father say their name in public, who had never been introduced to the world the way children of the crown prince are supposed to be introduced, who existed fully and completely in the private part of a man's life that the official story pretends does not exist. The arranged marriage to Sheikha Shaika bint Said Al Thani in 2019 added another layer of complexity to an already complicated situation. Because by the time that marriage happened, the secret was already there, already carried, already shaping the emotional landscape that Hamdan brought into a union that was never built on love to begin with. Sheikha was entering a marriage with a man who was already a father in ways she may not have fully known. The weight of that, the specific weight of carrying a secret child into a new marriage, is something that leaves marks on the marriage, on the man, on every interaction and every moment of connection that might have had a chance of growing into something real if the ground beneath it had not already been so complicated. His poetry from every period of his adult life carries traces of this, a tenderness that appears in unexpected places, a specific kind of love that is different from the romantic longing that most people associate with his work. Something quieter, more protective, more permanent. The love a person carries for a child is different from any other love. It does not argue with duty the way romantic love does. It does not push against the boundaries that family and politics create. It simply exists underneath everything, permanent and unconditional and impossible to reason away, regardless of what official decisions get made on it, around it. He has never been allowed to mention this child in public, never been allowed to post a photograph or write a poem with a dedication that the world could connect to this specific piece of his private life. The palace would not permit it. The family would not permit it. The carefully managed image of the Crown Prince of Dubai has no official space for a chapter that was never supposed to become part of the story. And so Hamdan has carried it the only way available to him, in silence, in private, in the poems that say everything without ever saying the specific things that cannot be said. Somewhere right now, there is a child who is older than most people realize. A child who knows, in whatever way children eventually come to know these things, that their father is one of the most recognized and admired men in the world. A child who may have read his poems without knowing that some of those poems were written with them somewhere in the back of the mind that produced them. A child who deserves to be mentioned, who deserves to be acknowledged, who deserves the basic dignity of having their existence recognized by a father who has never stopped knowing they are there. The palace keeps the secret. The official story continues without it. And Sheikh Hamdan carries what he has always carried, quietly, privately, in the only language he has ever truly been free to use. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell. Every week, I bring you the truth behind the image of Sheikh Hamdan, the stories the official version was never going to tell, and the people the world was never supposed to know about.